This video was reportedly taken by a Navy patrol boat off the coast of Chile in South America. What appears to be a gigantic, slow-moving UFO is soon confirmed by both the Navy and a nearby air traffic control tower to not be one of their own. I was thinking maybe this was an ordinary blimp or a helicopter, until it emits some kind of inky mystery substance at the 8-minute 18-second mark. The camera cuts away for a bit, and then approximately 5 seconds later you can see the substance has solidified into a thick, clumpy mass. As if that isn't weird enough, the UFO then detaches itself from the mass, which hangs completely suspended in midair and keeps on going until it's no longer in sight. I have certainly never seen an aircraft do that before, and it doesn't look normal at all. If this is not edited, then I have little doubt that this visitor is from another planet entirely. After multiple nights of getting no sleep and experiencing a deep sense of dread, this person sets up multiple cameras to record exactly what happens to them at night. When they check out the cameras the next day, they find this strange encounter. A faint shadow appears to linger above them for a moment before fading away. It has an unnatural shape and almost seems to reach out at them. This video could be fake because this person was sleeping with their lights on, which is strange. But then again, maybe they were just trying to make sure there was plenty of light to catch the ghost on video. Some people have even suggested that this person was having an out-of-body experience during REM sleep. Become a storm chaser or head to the cellar. This homeowner did both when the Cedar Rapids derecho storm blew into his neighborhood. Published to YouTube by E. Hindman in August of 2020. This footage shows a quick as lightning storm roll in, one that devastated Iowa for hundreds of miles around. Hindman said he daringly took some footage of the storm out his window, setting up a camera there before safeguarding himself in the basement. What he captured was half an hour of one of the most brutal storms you'll ever see. The video shows the storm rile up ferociously, wind and rain whipping through while tree branches roll like tumbleweed down the road. At some point the trees are just being thrown full stop. The sturdy looking pine that stands in Hinman's front yard, which has made it this far, doesn't make it out alive. Its stump breaks clean in half and another larger tree falls across the yard. They are blown away with the others. Hindman writes, "The damage in this area of Iowa was like being hit by a 40-mile wide tornado. The storm took 4 lives, cut off power to nearly the entire city, contributed to the record-tying $16 billion worth of weather damage that impacted the US last year, according to the Washington Post." While searching an abandoned house, this paranormal crew felt a heavy and sinister energy. That energy manifested itself in several ways. Watch what's lurking in this doorway.
E aí, como tá? Com a sensação que tem alguém dentro. Oi.
The energy intensifies. And the images the team has captured serve as evidence of the heaviness that they found here. I don't think I would have the guts to enter, and after seeing this video, I definitely have to pass. A YouTuber named Dan Baines is the keeper of Mr. Fritz, a ventriloquist dummy that was once used to entertain the troops during the 1940s. He's very old and has since fallen apart to the point where all that remains is his disembodied head. Mr. Fritz is believed to be possessed by the spirit of his creator, a man who lost his life in battle and refuses to rest in peace. Lately, Dan has been seeing and hearing things all around the antique, so he sets up a camera to record. It's 3:30 in the morning when the glass door pops open. I don't see a string. Do you? This happens again at around the same time the next night, except this time his eyes open. String or no string, watch this part and tell me how a wooden ventriloquist dummy can open its eyes with no one nearby. And if you zoom in for a closer look, you'll see two orbs race by shortly after the case opens. I'm not saying that this video is impossible to fake, but unless this is an electronic prop that is being controlled with a remote, then I don't see how it can be done. This paranormal crew's third visit to this prison did not disappoint. CVS Paranormal enters Dorchester Prison, a criminal facility in which executions have been carried out. In previous investigations of this prison, the team has captured some truly eerie figures on camera, like this one. As the team enters, whispering is heard on the audio.
This is a big main entrance where down there is, big main entrance where down there is,
A second EVP captures a low growl.
Prisoner was in here. Prisoner was in here.
This is shortly followed by a door closing or opening.
Sounded like a growl or something. Like a growl or something.
And scratching noises.
This is a big one. Yeah, definite noises.
This singing is what's really chilling.
I swear I just heard singing. It sounded like it's coming from here as well. Soldier. Oh!
But it's when you're not searching for ghosts that they come find you.
Trust me.
It seems Dorchester Prison is truly rife with activity, but whether it's good or evil is anyone's guess. This incident shows that even streamers' homes can be haunted. Twitch streamer Justa Minx is chatting with her fellow influencers, Aviva Sophia and Nico Lull, when in the midst of discussion, the wheelchair in the corner behind her moves unexpectedly. Nico Lull is the first to notice, while Aviva Sophia confirms that she saw it move too. Justa Minx denies that it moved, but it was behind her, so she couldn't have seen it. A second clip reveals further proof that Justa Minx's home is haunted. As she's talking about TikTok with her followers, a distinct silhouette flashes into view on the right. This time she sees it out of the corner of her eye. She asks her viewers if they saw it too. Many in the comments think it's a black cat, but can a cat move a wheelchair? One strange happening is enough. Two is too much to explain away. This home inspector wasn't expecting to find this. Published by Cleveland Marco in July of 2011. The inspector is at this residence and explains that a former resident is said to have passed away in her sleep there and that her ghost remains. As he's explaining that the ghost is said to enjoy walking around and opening doors in the home, a door opposite slams open by itself. This surprises them all.
And she likes to open doors, and she says, well, they say that doors open by themselves. No way!
They try it again. The inspector opens a door, and as he does, the door across the room opens as well.
All right, let's do this again.
All right.
Here it goes. Open the door.
It's unbelievable.
No.
This happens 3 times. While some are saying it's the air pressure in the room, others are keener on the ghost story. I definitely think something mysterious is going on in this house. It's not fun and games anymore when something like this happens. Posted to the very spooky video subreddit by AdamGray59. The Redditor is wondering if this is poltergeist activity. In the video, some gamers are playing Call of Duty, and the gamer on screen appears to have gone for a bathroom or snack break. His chair is empty, or maybe it isn't. The chair starts swiveling quietly around. Of course, this unnerves the player on the opposite side of the screen. Is a ghost occupying this chair? Redditor Tommy MCY in the comments says, it's a gamer ghost, while others are more skeptical, saying things like chairs simply do that on their own. So, gamer ghost or just an off-kilter chair? I'd like to think a ghost was at the controls. You gotta pay the troll toll. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the Redditor is wondering what's watching her son and nephew from under this bridge. She explains that the pair were night fishing. When her son told the person, animal, or monster to show itself, there was no reaction. The thing they capture from beneath the bridge appears to be peeking out from behind the wall. Some say it looks human, others think it's more demonic. But Redditor user unknown writes, what many are thinking, I wouldn't stick around to find out. Neither would they apparently, because according to the Redditor, the pair fled, but behind him they heard clicking noises and something bashing through the trees. Perhaps a troll after his hard-earned cash. This one's a real head scratcher. This Redditor shared this video of a USB cable with a life of its own. Let's take a look. Let's see it again, slower this time. The cord is still for about 20 seconds and then becomes active again. If you zoom in on the cable, it does look like there's something attached to it about 2 inches below the head. But you can't see the string, so I'm hesitant to say that's not just a reflection of light on the cord at certain angles. I can't offer a resounding verdict on this one. What do you think it is? It's spring break and a YouTuber named Chili is kind enough to let her fans visit her at her home throughout the day. Everyone is polite and respectful except for one guest. They're having a normal conversation and he seems fine at first, but then he starts eyeing something off camera a few times. After a while, he just goes for it.
Oh God, wait, that's my purse! Tito?
The purse taker doesn't make it far and is quickly wrestled to the ground by one of Chili's friends, named Tito. In addition to the purse, they also find a taken watch that he swiped off of the kitchen counter. Fortunately, he surrenders easily without much of a hassle. They are very forgiving and decide not to call the cops. Let me know if you would have done the same. All in all, I think everyone is lucky not to have gotten hurt. After this experience, I bet Chili is now more cautious about who she invites into her home. A TikToker named .ArianaAlexis has a hidden talent that really should have remained hidden. Her eyes split to opposite sides in a way that only reptiles should be able to do. This migraine-inducing eye roll looks impossible, but is it? I was sure that this had to be special effects, but to be honest, nothing about it looks fake, and based on this other video, I think spreading her eyes apart may be the insane natural trait that I didn't know was possible. She appears to be in no pain, and I guess could have a super stretchy fiber optic nerve. This video experiment proves something which many governments do not want the general public to know. Turning objects invisible is actually way easier than you would think. Look what happens when this YouTuber lowers a basic glass test tube into vegetable oil.
But if I actually put it in far enough that the entire test tube is submerged, it vanishes almost completely.
This simple experiment proves that certain liquids can actually bend light around an object to render it invisible. The key is pairing the right reflective properties with the right objects. This basic scientific principle is what governments are currently experimenting with to create cloaking devices for humans and even aircrafts one day, if they haven't done so already. To further prove their point, this YouTuber pulls out a second test tube that's been hidden in the center of the glass the whole time. Let me know if you think this experiment really does have any military potential, or if this whole idea is too far-fetched to have any practical use. Leviathan published this video on February 18th, 2016, writing, "In March 2015, I went on a hiking trip in the woods of Monrova, Czech Republic. He said after a few hours of walking, he suddenly heard some strange sounds coming from south of him. While walking through a mossy wooded area, he hears a sound echo throughout the forest. The camera shot moves towards the sound, and the fearless hiker decides to enter deeper into the forest to investigate. He comes across some tracks that look Bigfoot-esque, in the shape of human feet, only bigger. Deciding he'd rather live than come face to face with this creature, he gets the heck out of Dodge, but as he's leaving, the strange call is heard in the forest again. It's almost like the wind is screaming, but the day is absolutely calm. On the way back to his car, he claims that he heard the noise the whole way, while guesses as to what this creature might be range from Bigfoot to werewolves. One thing's for certain, stay out of the forest. 01 Supernatural Studio takes a tour of this most haunted hospital in Asia.
其实这个地方的建筑是创立于1903年，据说在第二次世界大战开始，日本就占领了菲律宾。然后将这个地方改建成医院还有基地。然而日军开始节节败退的时候，并撤离了菲律宾。
As this team explores the place, they are sensing energies at each turn.
然后随着脚步声前往的时候，那个警卫看见了一位高大的男性，并且穿着着军装，但因为灯光的关系。
Did you see something in the darkness? In the next room again, they feel jumpy.
非常的清楚知道，他看到鬼了。没错，那一定是鬼。
I'm not sure if that was a ghost or just a trick of the light, but this next one is hard to deny. Watch the doorway as this man reaches the bottom of the stairs.
每一个医院都会有一个太平间，然而我记得那个时候。 是发生越战，每天都会送到医院来相当多的伤患跟军人。
It looks like a figure passes at the end of the hall. Next, a strange shadow falls over this creepy hallway.
在这个地方工作的人，他说他真的很不喜欢这一条走廊，因为
They continue the tour and it just gets spookier from there.
接下来这个故事呢，其实是一位住在当地的美国人所告知的。
The pit looks like it drops all the way to the fiery depths below. They explore further and find this creepy underground bunker.
我朋友他的朋友告诉我的，当地曾经有一群年轻人跑进去这个废弃医院内探险。 他们这一群年轻人，有几个甚至还在医院内玩着。
While we didn't see or hear any blatant ghosts on this tour, there's no denying this place is beyond creepy. I know I wouldn't want to wander those halls. YouTuber Johnny Paranormal 74 writes that they caught this on Alonzo's live earlier this evening. The live stream was captured in an empty mausoleum in Mexico. Let's take a look.
¿Escuchas? ¿En qué parte estás? Mira, ¿lo viste? ¿Lo viste?
Se cerró toda. Pensé que iba a tronar.
Se cerró la puerta. ¿Hay alguien ahí? Se cerró la puerta, Clary.
When he looks inside, you can see there's nobody there.
A ver qué es lo que hay adentro. La puerta está cerrada, miren. puerta está cerrada. Bien nomás. No voy a abrir más.
Do you see what I see? If not, you're about to hear it.
Dime, estás aquí. Mira, otra vez. Otra vez, ¿lo viste? Alguien está dentro, Clary.
Did you hear that? I'm sure you did, because as I see it, this is one of the most scary videos you'll ever see. A group of people in Michigan are having a casual conversation outside when something unexplainable suddenly interrupts them. The cameraman immediately zooms in on the strange intrusion. This is the palding light, an intensely burning white-hot shimmer that has no explainable source. As the people in this video are talking about what it could be, two more lights suddenly appear. The lights fade in and out as they move rapidly across the skyline. Sometimes it's just the red lights, and sometimes the single white light grows extremely large. The objects are moving extremely fast and even seem to be traveling towards them. Still, the group thinks that they are far enough away to be safe, and plus, they are right by their cars in case things get too crazy, so they keep filming. One person in the group is sure that they are watching the headlights of a car, but no one else buys this explanation because of the erratic way the lights are moving. Now, I'm not saying that it definitely is or isn't a car, but the point is nobody knows for sure what the palding light is or how it came to be. With that said, there are some local legends. Some say it's the lantern of a passed away railroad worker who was crushed on the tracks, while others say it's the Grim Reaper himself. I'm curious to read what you think it is after seeing this video. This video was taken at night in a parking garage somewhere in West India. A woman was apparently acting normal until she was suddenly attacked by what some bystanders later described as a ghost. Watch this part and tell me if you think she is having delusions or fighting off a spiritual possession. Try to translate if possible too, please. I did not think much of this video until I noticed what could be a strange paranormal disturbance. Some kind of fast-moving white objects repeatedly appeared during the harshest times of her struggle, like here for instance. Poor camera quality makes it hard to tell if these are some kind of spirit orbs or just insects. If these are insects and nothing more, I find it weird that there are only just a few of them, and how they only seem to appear during key moments of the video when she is in the most distress. A haunted home in Italy that has been the subject of many failed exorcisms has some incredible paranormal activity caught on tape that almost has to be trick photography. Tell me how this was done before I wake up screaming tonight. It almost looks too well done to be computer editing. A YouTuber named Richard205Maria believes that some kind of advanced life form is following his every move, so he sets up surveillance equipment around his house. He finds this strange creature flying around his yard at around 6 in the morning shortly thereafter. The glowing all-white apparition looks relatively small and is so fast that the camera has a hard time capturing any details. We can vaguely see 4 humanoid limbs and perhaps a set of wings as well, though it's hard to tell for sure. It appears to fly headfirst with its arms stiffly sat at its sides, a strange characteristic for almost any creature of flight on this planet. I think there is a strong possibility that this could be CGI, but I can't eliminate the possibility of an insect, a reflection of light, or even otherworldly contact. I encourage you to watch the other videos on Richard's channel and tell me if you think he has an extraterrestrial following him or not. Come Out and Play, posted in January of 2014. This poltergeist knows how to have fun. A group of friends are hanging out along a city river at night. As the cameraman scans the area, one of the girls spots it first, a swing swaying back and forth rather forcefully on its own. The night is still, the wind's barely moving the leaves in the trees, and yet this swing is moving with energy. As Lex Cotton writes in the comments, the thing is moving too fast to be pulled by strings or the wind. Who then is moving it? And do you want to play? I sure wouldn't, because it looks like this is the work of a nefarious ghost. A YouTuber named C. Codain is with a group of friends who are ready to explore an old creepy tunnel. They keep running out because they think they see something inside, but nothing shows up on camera until their fourth and final attempt. First, they hear it before they see it. It sounds a lot like the other Rake videos in my opinion, but let me know what you hear. They remain at the mouth of the tunnel while the creature slowly walks towards them, making those sounds all the while. They clearly get the creature on video once and for all, but not without risking their lives first. The shrieking monster is all gray and stands upright like a human. It's hard to say whether this was their friend or an actual sewer mutant. Their reactions of excitement and disbelief sound real, at least compared to most other videos, so I'm inclined to believe this was an actual creature they spotted at random. It seems these poltergeists have left their group project until the last minute, published by Amar Ajola in September of 2014. This scary video caught some paranormal activity in a computer lab in Delhi's Karkardoma court. The footage shows a man sitting in a computer lab. He appears to be waiting to capture some strange activity on his camera, and then it happens. One computer monitor turns on, after another. They each turn on in their own time across the lab. No one else is in the room, so the mysterious behavior of the monitors is unnerving. Some think it's a prank using remote activation. Others think it's a ghost programmer needing to complete a project. Many note the orb activity in the video. Are these the entities that are present? It's certainly seeming that way to me. Nothing is more terrifying than surveillance footage of an event, especially one that ends human life. This video footage shows 3 suspects involved in a double life-taking in South Ogden, Utah. Surveillance footage surrounding the scene of the event captured 2 suspects peering through the home's windows and later a masked man fleeing the scene. All 3 suspects were wearing hard plastic masks. According to several news articles documenting the event, police believe the incident was not random, but targeted, and that the suspects were familiar with both the people in their home. South Ogden Police Chief Darren Park noted that while reports of a loud party had been made to police, he asked any witnesses to come forward and said in a statement that he hoped the families of the people will gain some closure. Multiple surveillance cameras caught the suspects scoping out the home. One suspect was wearing a mask, while the 2 others wore opaque plastic masks as they approached. One camera showed a suspect crouched down, watching the home for a while, after which the second suspect and later the third joined in. A second camera caught them peering into the home's windows. Following the event, one of the men was seen on a third camera hopping over a fence. As of the latest update found online, dated March 2019 by ABC4, the double life-taking remains unsolved. More has been pieced together of the night's events, including the fact that 3 of the Van Komen brothers lived in the home, while the unfortunate older neighbor, Kevin Nelson, had just dropped by when the event occurred. Once 2 of the Van Komen brothers left to pick up some food, leaving just one and one other roommate inside, the stranger seized the opportunity to enter. The brothers were gone for no more than 10 minutes, and when they returned, they found Kyle passed away on the floor. Van Komen's mother, Renee Finch, said of the footage, "I think that it's creepy that they're out there watching." Adding later, "We're very thankful we didn't lose all 3 of our boys that night." Nelson's nephew, Ralph Nelson Jr., also said of his uncle that he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, a feeling echoed by Finch, who doesn't know why her son might be targeted. There was no clear motive for the double life-taking, which is likely why the trail remains cold today, despite over 70 people being questioned over the past 3 years. Unsolved mysteries are inherently terrifying, and the coldness of this case compounds that fear. This ghost thinks he's at a dance club when he's actually in the psych ward. Posted to the r/ghosts subreddit, OK Adhesiveness 6788 explains that she works in a psychiatric hospital, and she's pretty sure this is a ghost. The security footage from room 10 shows a couple hazy figures. It's not clear if they're connected to one another. They move around a bit chaotically but seem to be in step. It almost looks like a full human figure dancing, with bits and pieces of its body erased. Many in the comments think the mysterious figure is a cobweb. Others think it's a bug. Some think it looks like a ghost dancing to Michael Jackson's Thriller. Less skeptical commenters ask the Redditor if they've experienced anything else paranormal there. The Redditor answers in the comments, yesterday a light and faucet was turning on and off. Today a nurse had her chair pulled back. I've heard stories of charts flying and growling noises. So while this clip on its own might not convince some skeptics, combined with the other paranormal happenings experienced at the hospital, I'd be more inclined to believe it's haunted too.
Wait, that's the moon on the right. So what the that?
A TikToker named Zandorf looks up to see a large object dwarfing the moon.
Oh yeah, it is. It does do it on mine. You just have to line it up right.
It's not a street lamp because there's nothing underneath of it. Stranger still, the moon isn't even visible on his friend's phone when he tries to take a picture. So is Zandorf really telling the truth?
You don't see anything. Like we need to take a picture of like the difference.
That's so weird. What the there it is. Look.
I think that the larger object could actually be the real moon, which makes the smaller circle a lens flare. This is the only explanation that makes sense to me, unless he really was looking at something much larger and many times brighter than the moon itself. An Urbex YouTuber called RNK All Day is exploring a creepy building that used to be a funeral home before it was abandoned. The funeral home is not haunted per se, at least not from what I can tell, but what they find is every bit as scary as any ghost video you'll ever watch. You see, a long time ago, this North Carolina establishment was shut down because of improper business operations. People were not notified about their loved ones in a timely fashion, and the remains were often not stored properly at all. As RNK All Day explores the abandoned building, he finds evidence of their misdeeds laying out in the open. Sitting in a battered cupboard box on an old altar is a discarded plastic bag full of what appears to be ashes. There's no way to tell if these are the ashes of someone until you look at the box. That definitely says cremation services. If this is what we think it is, which I think it almost definitely is, then they should be properly placed in an urn, not out in the open like this. And if there are more items like this lying around, then maybe this building is haunted after all. These two unidentified flying object sightings are eerily similar. Posted on Reddit by GamersGen, these two sightings from Miami and Beijing are comparative. The first appeared in Beijing on February 3rd, 1995. The unidentified flying object hovers as an illuminated yellow disc in the evening sky. After a while, it starts to glide slowly overhead. GamersGen posts a second video in the comments, one which looks similar to the first but was captured on October 20th, 1995. This unidentified flying object was spotted along a freeway. The driver pulled over to capture it hovering near an apartment complex and then over Miami Airport. GamersGen suggests that today, unidentified flying objects aren't seen as often for a reason. His theory? They have become more cautious, and further said, they seem to be extremely aware of us observing them, and above all, they don't want to be compromised. What do you think? It makes sense to me, and these two sightings are certainly quite similar. A ghost hunting channel called Holy Walkers is exploring an abandoned building at 3 a.m. to catch some spirits on video. The first thing they notice is a discarded bike and a pile of clothing in the front yard. So either people occupy this building or something extremely terrible happened here. They keep thinking they hear voices, but nothing is really getting picked up on video. One thing they do record though is a noise that sounds like a firework or a shot.
Yeah.
What was that?
I think this sound might be paranormal because it's hard to tell its exact location, which means it might be residual energy from a bad event. After a bit of searching, they find a discarded round on the floor. While they are pondering what could have happened here, they hear another phantom shot and all go running. Either someone was trying to scare them off, or something seriously paranormal is there. This footage was taken by an American tourist who was visiting Romania. He was just walking around a local zoo on his own, checking out the sights when he hears about a new attraction that is unlike any of the others. He is ushered into a dark farmhouse along with some other curious observers. Almost immediately, the tone of the video changes from skeptical to serious. It's hard to say exactly how, but something just feels wrong all of a sudden. You can hear the villagers talking among themselves, excitedly as they push past. Farm animals are making noises as the American makes his way deeper inside. This section is very dark now, and even though the Romanians are speaking in a different language, you can tell that people are sounding worried and concerned as they come closer and closer to the main attraction. Finally, the American tourist sees it for himself. Sitting across from them on a straw floor is what appears to be a white humanoid creature with black eyes and a wide gap for a mouth. It makes a series of tortured gurgling sounds and then charges towards its cage as the video quickly ends. It's hard to tell if this is a real creature or a man in a suit because the lighting is very dim. At the same time, Romania is a very rural country, and anything could be lurking in the woods. Maybe someone really did capture this thing and drag it back to society to be gawked at by paying crowds. If this thing is real, then the poor humanoid sounds like it's been severely mistreated and probably needs help. A video of a human torso walking upright is probably one of the scariest home CCTV moments I've ever seen caught on tape. The main reason it looks so terrifying is because this is mostly a marionette puppet instead of CGI, which requires more work but looks more realistic. Somebody is most likely pulling its strings from above to make it walk, or at least I hope so. Published in October of 2011, the YouTuber wrote in the video description, "I found where the creature has been hiding, along with my dead cat. What creature?" While searching his property, the original uploader found a sewer or a drainage pipe, which is where the video begins. As he's walking towards the drain, he only brought his camera and a knife. What does he need a knife for? We'll soon find out. He enters the tunnel, and you can't see much inside apart from his bright headlights on the walls. But then again, as the light shines ahead deeper into the tunnel, he seems to catch a brief glimpse of a creature standing there. Two bright eyes gleaming in the darkness. He races out of the tunnel. He explains that his camera died as he was hurrying home. The sewer being a quarter-mile deep in the forest, for some reason, he decides to head back the next day to explore the tunnel again, in the hopes of capturing the creature face to face. This time he enters the tunnel through the opposite side, where the stream is coming out. Inside, he finds the skull of his cat. He also finds what he believes to be the creature's nest.
That's my cat. That's my cat. I think I just found this place's nest.
So what do you think? Is this creature indeed alien or some other known life form? Unless we know what sewer this YouTuber is exploring, we cannot move forward with verifying if this footage is legitimate. The Southern Arizona Ghost and Paranormal Society teams up with fellow ghost hunters, the Mission Creeps, to investigate the ever so haunted Oliver House in Bisbee, Arizona. 26 people are said to have lost their lives here over the years, the most famous being a man named Nat Anderson, whose wife disposed of him with 2 rounds after learning of an affair. Now gathered in the historic bedroom of the Oliver House, they call upon Nat Anderson and possibly get a response.
Somebody told us that Nat Anderson was here. Is Nat still here?
This is one of the clearest paranormal voices I've ever heard. It sounds distant yet in the same room as them. I'm wondering if this was edited in, and I'm especially looking for the opinion of any sound technicians. Here it is one more time. Maybe it's just me, but I'm detecting a hint of sarcasm in the voice, so maybe it was Nat Anderson being funny by saying he wasn't there, or maybe it was a different ghost who is tired of this question altogether. This YouTuber is trapped. The hungry beast shreds his backpack and smells more supplies up this tree. All it needs to do is get through this pesky human first.
Hey there. Down there.
Amazingly, the bear does as told and goes back down upon the hunter's request. I guess seeing a human talk up close like that must have freaked it out because the animal runs away before chancing a look back at the backpack laying on the ground and deciding against it. Of all the weird things I've ever seen caught on camera in the woods, this has to be one of the weirdest and scariest videos ever because there's no doubt it's absolutely real. Schwinn Protocol wants to remodel his dreary basement, which only has a dirt floor. After digging many layers down, he finds this rusty old entranceway that presumably extends even deeper. He doesn't really have a good feeling about this at all, but he needs to know everything about the basement before he can get the job done, so he has to see for himself what's on the other side. He lifts the heavy cement plug, and white orbs soon follow, though I guess they could also be dust particles. Either way, he is puzzled to find a wide cavern filled with darkness. As his light traces along the rough edges of the floor, he slowly begins to piece together some unnerving observations out loud.
That's probably about a 13 or 15 foot drop. So definitely a bigger person wouldn't be able to fit down there. Wouldn't even be able to fit a ladder down there though,
So basically, this is a deep hole with an entrance that's too small for an adult, but just the right size to squeeze through a child. I'm not sure what this was really used for, but I do agree that it's weird to have a random hole in your basement that's easy to fall into and tough, if not impossible, to get out. To be fair, the YouTuber later wrote in the description that he thinks it was part of a drainage system that's no longer in use. Maybe he's right, or maybe he's just trying to explain something that he wishes he never saw. Someone could have spent their entire childhood down there for all we know. While visiting a friend at a high school, these girls spotted strange flickering light inside, writing that it was flashing in a pattern. Posted by Babe It's Manda to the Ghosts subreddit. The Redditor notes that this is the boys and the girls' locker rooms. Only the boys was acting up earlier, and now they're both flickering. Some suggest it's a rave, others think it may just be faulty wiring, or the fire alarm being tested, but MTN-Do891 finds something else particularly unsettling. He writes, "Why do the locker rooms have windows so large and close to the ground? That's what I find creepy." That's a good point, so maybe their story is not what's actually going on here. Nevertheless, this either had to be a major electrical malfunction, or else the work of something paranormal. I just wish there was more video evidence so we could decide for sure. Hina Tahir and her sister are camping in New Jersey's Double Trouble State Park when they notice a strange woman who is half submerged in a local lake. Her clothes are all white, and she has a serious expression on her face as she sways in place. To this very day, the two girls aren't sure if what they recorded was a live person or a ghost. If it was a person, then I have absolutely no idea why they would be in the water, well, fully clothed. And if it was a ghost, then maybe her body is lurking in the shadow waters below. Whatever the case may be, Hina and her sister decide to leave the woman in peace and dare not go any closer. This YouTuber takes his girlfriend on an adventure to go exploring a tunnel that's said to be quite haunted. The Blue Ghost Tunnel in Ontario is close to a graveyard that was not properly relocated and still has hundreds of unmarked burial sites. Well near the entrance, Jack hears strange sounds in the sky that sound like a train horn, but there's just one problem.
I don't know if the camera can pick this up, but listen in the background.
Trains would derail so often that the tunnel was soon condemned, so I have no idea what that sound was. When they get through the boarded up entrance, from deeper in the tunnel comes the voice of a little ghost girl calling for help. It could just be a squeaky piece of machinery, but I don't think so.
Hello?
A mysterious light way far ahead makes them both leave quick. You can see it comes from way too far ahead to be a part of their equipment, and besides that, they claim to not even have flashlights anyway. I don't know why you would go exploring a haunted tunnel without a flashlight, but I guess they weren't intended to go very far. Little did they know they wouldn't even make it past the entrance without getting freaked out. Things get loud in this Poltergeist paradise. Posted to TikTok, the original footage is from Dark Ghost Paranormal. In the clip, someone is wandering through a clearly haunted house. You can hear repeated banging before you can see the creepy poltergeist in the act. The culprit in the kitchen cupboard, whose door is banging over and over again. It seems like it will never end, but all of a sudden it stops. As the person steps into the kitchen, a deep gong is heard from another direction. They whip around and are looking toward a refrigerator, but there's nothing there. Although there's thankfully no jump scare, there's certainly something going on in this poltergeist paradise. Mysterious things have been happening for years at the haunted Brookside Theatre in Romford, UK. Management has long reported sightings of ghost orbs and furniture moving by itself across the floor with no one in the room. Footage of one such strange and unexplained event was captured on a quiet Sunday morning in 2014. Management came in to find the chairs were no longer in the same place as they had been the night before. They checked CCTV tapes already knowing the answer, but for some reason, even after all these years, there's no getting used to paranormal activity, and so they check every time. A paranormal presence is shown on camera moving the chair and then the table. Half the table is off the camera, so that would be easy to move by yourself and say it was a ghost, but a chair moving by itself would be harder to fake, though it could be a string. I'll keep digging for more paranormal videos from the Brookside Theatre so we can help solve the mystery and figure out if the building is really haunted. In the meantime, let me know what you think of these creepy moments caught on camera. A dad and a daughter are all smiles as they board an elevator. The ride is smooth and they look at themselves in the mirror for about 30 seconds, completely unaware of how unsafe they actually are. Minutes later, the empty elevator is ripping past floors with enough speed to shake the entire carriage. The door is slightly open and nothing is working properly as the lift slams into the roof hard enough to dislodge panels and light fixtures. Thankfully, no passengers were on board, but had the two from earlier still been inside, it would have been a daddy-daughter demise for certain. I can only wonder how many times something like this has almost happened to you or me without realizing. This scary video clip captured not just one misty spirit miraculously floating atop the water, but a second emerging from below. Posted to TikTok by Horror Talk, the apparition gracefully glides on the water's surface, only for his brother's head to appear, materializing from the same point in the water. It grows upwards, but we're left to wonder where the pair of spirits wandered off to, and from where they came. Some in the comments think this is a weather balloon, others say it's La Llorona, the weeping woman who roams the waterfront. What do you think it could be? Would you be able to sleep after seeing this? This video is a re-upload shared by YouTuber Randy Stover. I was unable to track down the original source. At first, the person looks as though they were perhaps jolted awake from a nightmare. Then this happens. Something apparently paranormal is lifting them by their feet from the bed. Is this just some crazy abnormal gravitational pull? Or has something demonic entered the scene? I think this is a true case of paranormal activity. Fishing line would tear painfully into the ankles, so I don't see any other explanation for this one. In July of 1973, Clara and Phil Dandy moved into this unassuming farmhouse bordering the woods of Hinsdale, New York, thinking that it would be a nice cozy place to raise their children. They would hardly last for more than a year. Their troubles began within days of moving in. Minor annoyances like constant hang-up phone calls and cabinet doors getting left open, and then not so minor things like a soft chanting coming from deep in the woods. Soon apparitions were roaming the 100-year-old house along with faces in the windows. As the weeks dragged into months, they recruited the help of a clergyman named Father Alphonsus to cleanse the house, upon which they claimed to have felt a scream rattle the walls, followed by a period of calm. However, the peace and quiet lasted only a few days before the spirits returned in full force, forcing the devastated Dandy family to move out 13 months later in October of 1974. The house has chewed through a few more families since then. None of them stayed for long, but nobody knows what they saw. The house couldn't sell and fell into a state of disrepair until 2015, when a paranormal investigator named Daniel Clace purchased it for him and his team to conduct their research. Daniel is an author, speaker, and paranormal documentary maker who co-founded the Western New York Paranormal Society in 2012. He has been interested in the paranormal his whole life, and that's why these videos seem legitimate, starting with this one in the downstairs bedroom. These spheres of light could be dust particles, or they could be spirit orbs that appear when the air becomes charged with paranormal energy. One thing that's weird is they are always moving straight up, all of them, and sometimes two at a time. This live camera feed is over 30 minutes long, and not once does an orb move downwards. That's definitely odd. And remember, I said faces are seen in the window. Well, I think this might be one of them, black eyes and all. Daniel uploaded the next video after he let a different team of ghost hunters investigate, a group called the Warriors of the Paranormal. They didn't want to miss anything, so they slept in shifts. One of them, named Bobby Ann, is asleep on the couch when this appears over her. A closer view only presents more questions. I see tiny ears, but the face is blacked out and it has no visible eyes or a mouth. It looks like it could have been fur, but that could also be bare skin. It's not a raccoon or a small dog, but those are the only two things it even remotely resembles. Maybe it could be a hand puppet, but there's no room for a second person to lay beside her, and she is facing the camera with the covers over her, so it can't be her. And it almost definitely can't be a wild animal, because I think even the deepest sleeper would wake with something so close. This is a different view from behind the couch. Bobby Ann turns in her sleep and looks at what's wrong with her arm. This part looks like their arm, but this circled part looks like something entirely different as it raises up then disappears, so maybe it was part of the blanket or something. But this rising dark apparition definitely is not. I don't know about you, but that definitely looked like some shadow person activity, or maybe edited. Either way, I've saved the creepiest part of all for last. Check out this ghostly figure standing over the couch. It looks like a little girl in a dress with her head down watching. I bet you didn't notice, but she was there all along. Something in this pizzeria has had enough. Posted to TikTok by Flaming Belladonna 3. This short clip shows what happens when you anger the pizza gods. The clip shows several workers standing around in the kitchen. On a pizza belt to the right, A pizza flipper and a slicer are sitting on the top belt. As the girls chat, the slicer suddenly shoots off the shelf and knocks one of them in the head. How in the world could this happen? Some think the workers angered a ghost by putting pineapple on the pizza. Others, like Jonathan Zwar, suggest that the slicer was on the conveyor and probably was pushing against the metal lip, causing it to be propelled when the tension released. Many in the comments, however, would rather focus on the danger of that slicer. The 509 Grim Knight writes, "That could have easily been in Final Destination. So now that all the facts are in, what do you think? Is this an angry pizza ghost or an angry conveyor belt?" Reets Boy records what he thinks is a rare creature sighting, and while I think he might be right, I would like your help to confirm. Some of the dogs in his neighborhood are going crazy, so he zooms in on where they're barking and just barely makes out this figure possibly watching from afar. At 38 seconds, you get a much better look when he zooms in.
Bro, do you see it?
It's hard to tell for sure, but I think something is definitely there, and it kind of looks like the upper half of a shadow person. Fear suddenly overcomes Reets Boy, and he runs back inside before it gets any closer. Definitely the smart choice. There's a haunted painting somewhere in this art gallery in Birmingham, UK. The only problem is Ted Whitehall isn't sure which painting it is, so he calls a pastor to hold an exorcism and cleanse every last one of them. Something demonic is determined not to let that happen.
Oh, take it from this place. It has no place here, Lord. I cast this out in the name, and I bind it in the mighty...
An angry ghost keeps slamming the door. It hates whenever the pastor talks about being cast out and keeps doing its best to interrupt him.
I cast you out and bind you in the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus. In the name of...
Persistent pastor pushes aside his fear and fires off the final words. You can hear the defeated spirit walk away.
Cast it into the pit, Lord, and bind it forever. In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus.
That could just be somebody off camera walking away, so let's turn our attention towards the chair, which Ted says is made of cast iron. Can anybody tell me if this is really made out of cast iron? If so, it should weigh a ton and be virtually impossible to move. To call this paranormal activity would be an understatement. This is one powerful painting. Wild animals can be incredibly dangerous, even animals that look as slow and non-menacing as moose are. YouTuber Azeroth6390 discovered that in June of 2007 when he published this video writing, "My dad and my grandfather were trying to chase a moose into the forest because it was in a village scaring people. What happened next? Well, see for yourself. The moose is wandering in the forest, and you can see a man and his dog head towards it. The shot cuts to 3 moose running along next to a home, presumably being chased off by someone, while a dog nearby the man filming starts barking. That's when one of the moose has had enough. He clambers through the trees towards the dog, and the man filming the man lets out a crazy bellow, so the moose thinks better of it. Also, he seems to be having a tough time getting through the thick bramble. The moose retreats, and the man filming says, "She tried to get us," in his native language. Moose can be very dangerous in terms of behavior. They're not as aggressive as bears, but their population size means you are more likely to be injured by one than you are by any bear. According to how stuff works in Alaska alone, moose outnumber bears nearly 3 to 1, wounding around 5 to 10 people in the state annually. That's more than grizzly bear and black bear attacks combined. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to feel the power of the weight behind those antlers. If you're going to poke fun at the afterlife, you'd better be willing to cross over yourself. Published in September of 2021, these paranormal investigators dive into the mystical Black Forest, a mysterious place in which the occult and other cryptic happenings occur. Here's what they found. The men immediately try to pester the spirits, preparing a ritual in which incense is burning upside down. This, they say, is intended to insult the spirit, and this spirit apparently doesn't take to the insult kindly. As the group sits in wait, watching the incense burn, while a candle glows beside it, suddenly the plastic bottle the incense was placed in bursts. It flies off the altar, knocking the candlelight out as well. The pair wonder if something flew into it, although it looks more like something burst out of it. What do you think happened here? Does this spirit have a really short fuse? This ghost is trying to bum a ride. Posted by Ghost Videos in July of 2020. A man was driving in Johor, Malaysia when he crossed paths with a hitchhiking spirit. The dashcam footage shows a dark, empty room at night. According to the timestamp, it's around 2 in the morning in July of 2019. As the car barrels down the road, a semi-transparent figure appears in the dark lane on the right. You can barely make out the apparition as it holds out its thumb to catch a ride. What do you think? A live person half hidden in the darkness? Hitchhiking in the darkness of night? If so, what is the spirit's destination? We may never know. A woman is approached by a stranger in a store and they talk for a few moments. She thinks it's kind of strange, so she watches where he goes, only to find the man is now standing by her bike.
I don't know, and then he just walked over to my bike.
They talk about the bike for a while, but the conversation is really awkward. I don't know what he says here, so tell me what you hear him say in response to this question.
Are you riding it today?
Not right now.
No, not
right. With my wife.
Oh, okay. All right.
I just took her to the dentist. It's kind of fuzzy.
I'm not sure if I heard him right, but I think he says that he just came from the dentist and is feeling fuzzy, so I guess this means they numbed him and maybe gave him something strong, which could explain the general weirdness to begin with. You can tell she's trying to steer the conversation to a close, but he doesn't seem to take the hint and it's about to get even weirder.
All right. I was just, you had asked me, what I was riding, so I came out just
I saw you walk in with a helmet and your jacket.
Yeah.
Right.
He doesn't give her a chance to say no before he's on the bike to see how it feels.
Exactly. Yep.
You don't mind.
No, just don't drop it, please, all right?
Maybe this is a biker thing that I don't understand, but this seems about as creepy as if somebody wanted to get inside of my car to see how the interior feels. Let me know if you ride a bike how you would feel about this stranger encounter. Eventually, she has to excuse herself, but it's weird how he's still looking intently at her bike.
All right, so nice meeting you, nice talking with you.
She eventually walks away, and even though he walks with her, tell me if you think he was making friendly conversation or up to something, because I don't know what was on his mind. A man films the road ahead while speaking in a different language. I'm not sure what he says, but it sounds like he is trying his best to stay calm in the face of danger. If you can translate this part for me, it would really help.
Berikan ku kekuatan dan jauhilah segala kejahatan, ya Allah.
He slowly turns around the camera to reveal a hooded figure floating in his car. Only the upper half of its body is visible, and there's total darkness where its face should be. He doesn't dare look at the phantom in his rearview mirror, instead keeping his eyes on the road and letting the camera look for him. If this isn't a prop, then what could it be besides a ghost? A YouTube channel called Rick Now TV posted this while traveling across the European countryside. He is recording a dreary meadow from a train when he spots an oversized figure standing at a distance in the fog. The fog creature looks like a silhouette and is gone within the short time it takes him to zoom in and refocus, but in the instant it's there. You can see that it is about the same height as a nearby tree and large well. Rick Now TV suspects that this is a ghost, but perhaps it's further evidence of Slender Man, the elusive tall and dark creature who is said to be able to change its shape, size, and appearance at will. Driskill Hotel is one of the most legendarily haunted hotels in all of Texas. This is where you'll find a painting of a senator's 4-year-old daughter named Samantha, who supposedly fell down a flight of steps at the hotel and met her end. Her soul is said to reside in the painting now, and she will change facial expressions if you look at her for long enough. Just look at what happens when this YouTuber, named Emily, takes a glance at the painting.
Mom, her face does change.
Has it changed?
Yes, it just changed when I started looking at it.
Jacob, did it change?
After freaking out for a bit, Emily bravely walks back up to the picture and takes another look. Try to examine the picture when the camera zooms in on it and tell me if you see Samantha's eyes move. I personally do not see it, but maybe I'm missing something.
Her eyes are moving. Oh my god. Her eye just moved up. I'm not lying.
If you want to find out what else this painting can supposedly do, then be sure to check out my other video called 7 Haunted Paintings. Worms aren't only found in insects, they can also be found in that next bell pepper you buy from the produce aisle. The uploader writes, "That thing was in a pepper. Looks like he wants to grow in someone's gut, lol." What is that thing? The thing looks like a tapeworm, but according to Snopes, the worm inside the pepper actually isn't that dangerous. The viral video came to light in August of 2019. The stringy worm moving inside the pepper was something a lot of viewers couldn't unsee apparently, and many saw it, as it was reposted on Facebook a million times, with viewers warning about the worm. Some posts warned that the worm was called Symbla Merch, and that it was a new type of worm that delves into moist areas of the body, resulting in possibly passing away. The claims, however, like so many posts on Facebook, were inaccurate. One said it might be a horsehair worm, which we talked about in the previous parasite entry, but adult horsehair worms are darker. Even the original message was false. This is not a new type of worm. It's been around since the dawn of time. Lesson learned, clean and prepare your green peppers properly, but still eat them. Another lesson learned, a person checks their CCTV to catch whoever busted their side view mirror. It's on the sidewalk side, and therefore absolutely couldn't have been a car. The video does not end at all as expected when a phantom force snatches the mirror and gives it a twist. Then again, maybe a manufacturer's bolt or something came loose here at 2 seconds. Point is, I've never seen a car mirror do something like this all by itself before. Have you? Do you hear that haunting melody? It may be the vocalizations of an actual ghost. Posted by Charger3933 to the Ghosts subreddit. This clip captures a ghostly song in the abandoned asylum, Eloise Psychiatric Hospital in Michigan, which we've discussed at length in previous top 15s. Charger notes in the comments that he did not hear the singing during the visit, only afterwards when he listened back to the recording. The Redditor was wandering around the abandoned asylum with a friend when he heard disembodied footsteps coming up the stairs. As he tried to capture the footsteps via a Snapchat video, he heard screaming from a distance. He saved the video and later heard the haunting singing as well. Redditor Wubba-Lubba-Dubba-Dee-Doo in the comments writes, obviously we have to take the audio with a grain of salt because it's possible someone was hidden in the building. That being said, I hear the screams and sleep freaky AF. The same Redditor later notes in the thread that the uploader basically caught an EVP. He also remarks that he too hears the footsteps or something moving nearby. The uploader states that he tried to stay as still as possible and that he would also consider this an EVP as he did not hear the singing in real time. Redditor quite fast agrees that the singing sounds like a lullaby. The Redditor tried to isolate the woman's voice and added a clearer clip to the thread. The humming voice sounds even spookier with the audio cleared up, and as quite fast notes, you can almost hear the words safe and sound. Do you feel safe and sound after watching this video? Omar Vassell and his friend are having a very strange problem in the toy section of Target. I will let them explain everything in a moment, but let's just say one of the toys seems to be a little too active.
What is that? This toy does not go off, and this toy does not go off, but the center toy goes off. It's off. My hand's over here. Bow. Toy goes off. Just watch. What is that? Like, please tell me what that is. America, please.
Maybe the batteries are depleted in all of the toys except for the one in the middle, but that still doesn't explain why it would go off when the other toys are touched. I feel like this video could have an obvious explanation that I'm not thinking of, so if you recognize these toys, or if you know anything about the toy manufacturing or design in general, then please let me know how this could possibly happen. A ghost hunting crew named Full Moon Inc. Paranormal Investigators are certain they've caught some paranormal activity surrounding a cursed mirror recently purchased at a yard sale. Here's their evidence. A ghost does seem to unclasp the lock. The only way to fake this is with a string, which would be fairly easy to detect at close range, especially against the dark wood. Within a month, the ghost seems to have spread from the haunted mirror and into the kids' room. The Full Moon Inc. investigators are shocked to see a stuffed animal moving on its own. They suspect the toy is haunted by a ghost trying to play with them. The toy on top barely moves. Was the object moved by a ghost or by one of the paranormal investigators hiding behind? Both incidents look real, but let's get your opinion on these paranormal encounters. Couple live happily ever after? Shared by YouTube channel blah blah. This video was originally posted on TikTok. The mysterious video of what appears to be a wedding party is trending in the Arabic-speaking YouTube community. A pair of newlyweds sit together with a forlorn look on their faces, while an officiant reads through some documents or scripture with the wedding party gathered round. We can assume all is normal, but a moment later something unsettling happens. Watch the bride-to-be. What came over her? Her eyes grow wide as though she's suddenly become possessed by something. She then follows an unknown object above before having a strange fit and appearing to silently scream in pain. Did a mysterious force from above possess her? Or did that force simply strike in that moment and cause her agonizing pain? It's hard for me to tell here what may have happened without further context or an extended video, but if I had to guess, I'd say something possessed her. It's all in the eye. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.